Let's talk about the story of Edith Cavell. It's a story just full of contradictions. I mean, how does a celebrated nurse, someone dedicated to saving lives, end up becoming an accused traitor facing a firing squad? In this explainer, we're going to unpack how one woman could be seen as a hero, a criminal, and a martyr, all at the very same time.
This is the question that just floored the world back in 1915, and honestly, it still holds a powerful grip on our imagination. How did a life dedicated to saving people end up like this, in front of a firing squad? To really get it, we have to look at the woman herself and the war that turned her compassion into a crime.
Just try to picture this scene. We're in German-occupied Brussels. A 49-year-old pioneer of nursing is facing death. And here's the kicker. The charge wasn't spying, which is what a lot of people believed. No, it was for an act of humanity that the German military considered a crime against the state. So to really understand why she was there, we need to rewind a bit and see the person behind all the headlines. Before she became this huge symbol, she was a professional who was completely transforming her field. Cavell wasn't just any nurse. She was a total leader, a real innovator. She was actually recruited by a top Belgian surgeon to establish modern secular nursing in Belgium. She even launched the country's first professional nursing journal. I mean, she was a builder, a true pioneer in every sense of the word. This quote right here, well, it gets right to the heart of what drove her. When the war broke out and her clinic was taken over by the Red Cross, she really lived by these words. She truly believed in helping anyone who needed it, and that meant treating wounded soldiers from both sides, German and Allied, with absolutely no discrimination. But this deeply held belief, this idea of saving all lives, was about to put her on a direct collision course with the occupying German army. Her clinic became something more than just a hospital. It turned into a gateway to freedom. 200. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's roughly how many Allied soldiers she helped escape from occupied Belgium. And look, she didn't just stumble into this. She became an active, absolutely essential part of a secret network. She and her network created this sort of clandestine pipeline. They'd hide soldiers, get them new identities and some cash, and then connect them with guides who could sneak them across the border to safety. But here's the thing. This act of rescue under German military law was a huge crime. But as you can imagine, a network like that couldn't stay secret forever. On August 6, 1915, betrayed by an informant, Edith Cavell was arrested. And that's when the legal battle that would seal her fate really began. So this was the specific charge they leveled against her. And it's really important to get this right. She was not charged with espionage, which is what a lot of people believed then and even now. No, it was war treason for conveying troops to the enemy. The German argument was pretty straightforward. Because she was in a war zone, she was subject to their military law. End of story. Now, what happened next is pretty remarkable. She was completely honest. She made no attempt to defend herself or deny her actions. She just admitted it all. She believed what she did was the right thing to do and openly said she helped the soldiers. Of course, this frank confession pretty much sealed her conviction on the spot. And this created this stark, totally irreconcilable conflict. On one hand, you had the German authorities arguing that the sentence was legally sound under their military code, a necessary deterrent. But on the other hand, the Allies and neutral countries like the US saw it as a barbaric act, the execution of a woman whose only crime was compassion. Her execution caused an immediate, massive international firestorm. News of her death spread like wildfire, and her image was very quickly and very powerfully transformed into a weapon of war. So the real Edith Cavell, this complex, professional, serious woman, was basically replaced by a powerful symbol. Allied propaganda just stripped away all of the nuance. They presented this simple black and white story of an innocent woman murdered by savage brutes. And of course, that narrative was perfectly shaped to serve the war effort. And this narrative of German brutality, with her death right at the center, was incredibly effective at galvanizing public opinion. Her story was plastered on recruitment posters and splashed across newspapers to drive enlistment, framing the whole war as a righteous fight against a morally depraved enemy. But that propaganda image of a vengeful martyr, it stands in such stark contrast to the message Cavell herself actually wanted to leave behind. Her final words reveal a much deeper and, honestly, a much more challenging legacy.
These were her words to a chaplain the night before she died. Just think about that. While the world was gearing up to use her story to fuel even more hatred, her own final message was this profound call for a humanity that goes beyond national borders, beyond any bitterness.
And this is really how she's remembered today. After the war, her remains were brought back to Britain with full honors. She was given a state funeral at Westminster Abbey and then laid to rest at Norwich Cathedral, not just as a national hero, but as a true figure of conscience. So it leaves us with this big question, right? What is a person's true legacy? Is it the life they actually lived, or is it the story we tell about them? Was Edith Cavell that innocent victim from the propaganda posters, or was she a brave woman who knowingly broke the law for a higher principle? Her life, and especially her remarkable final words, suggest her true legacy is far more powerful than any single story we try to tell.